Welcome back, everyone, to another About Teams video. And you already know what it is, MLB segment. But we got a little surprise today. We came up with a new idea. MLB controversial takes. Nick, you're the creator of this idea, so I'll kind of let you lead the way on kind of like how this will run, basically. You're muted, Nick, by the way.
Not bad.
No
So what we're gonna do is just like kind of go through each of these, slides or whatever. Slide's gonna have a question on it or a hot take or whatever, and me and you can just kind of go back and forth on what we think of it. Is it right? Is it wrong? Should it be? Should it not be? Etc.
Yeah.
It'll be pretty self-explanatory once we get into the slides. Obviously, I wanted to start out with probably the most well-known baseball take and one of the hottest sports takes of all time, which is, should Barry Bonds and just other, steroid users at the time of the steroid era be allowed in the Hall of Fame? Because as we know, so many of them have been, blackballed or banned from the Hall of Fame because of their use of steroids during that time. So I'll ask for your thoughts first before I go.
And let us know in the comments what you agree and disagree with, because these are opinion questions. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. For this one, this question has popped up in all of our sports management classes, and I think I've seen like 90% at least have agreed that Barry Bonds and them should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. Obviously, I'd say rightfully so. I mean, I kind of find it hard to not let them in. I believe it was fine at the time. There was nothing with it. And they were the best baseball. Barry Bonds is probably the best hitter of all time or one of, obviously home run records left and right. And there was a lot of great players during the PEDs that unfortunately just didn't make the Hall of Fame because now they made a rule where if you took PEDs, you can't be in it. Kind of find it. I think they should be allowed in. Pretty frank, I think it's just a stupid rule. But what do you think?
To put it blatantly, I agree. I think Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player of all time. Like in his prime, he was probably the most dominant, feared hitter of all time, where they were intentionally walking him with the bases loaded just because they didn't want. They knew the probability of him driving in all of those runs was pretty high.
Yeah.
So just, in an era where everybody was doing it, like you said, this is also, it needs to be noted so many times that this was the prime of Major League Baseball. This is when everybody wanted to watch baseball because balls were flying out of the park left and right. Guys were striking out 15 batters a game. Guys like Roger Clemens. Just so much fun was had when watching baseball. The great home run race of 98 between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and even Ken Griffey, who Ken Griffey was actually notably not a user of steroids at the time, just a great hitter. But in an era where it's so easy to say, oh, everyone was doing it. But it's true. It's what it was. Everyone was doing it. So, you can't talk about baseball and not talk about Barry Bonds. Is that not the point of the Hall of Fame, is to talk about the great eras of baseball and who was in it? And it goes the same, honestly, for me with Pete Rose. He was betting on himself to win games. Do you not do that every single time you go out there? You're betting on yourself to win a game. That's why you negotiate for contracts, because you're betting on yourself.
John Tate Porter was hitting his unders.
That's a different story.
Yeah, I know.
He was hitting because he wasn't playing.
Exactly. No, I agree. I think this one, most people think he should be, and it's pretty hard to argue. Honestly, especially just that era was so fun to watch. This is a great one.
Robot umpires, and I guess I'll take this one first. I don't think it's good for the game. I get why we're doing it. We've seen, guys like, obviously Angel Hernandez is the name you throw out when you talk about umpires messing up.
Yeah.
I think it takes away from the human aspect of the game, which is why the game is so great, because there's human aspect, there's human error. And we do have replay review, so you can go back and review if there's an out on the bases that was messed up, stuff like that. But when it comes to balls and strikes, if you're challenging, every single strike 2 call or ball 3 call or ball 4, et cetera, et cetera. It's just going to, prolong the game, which is what they're trying to not do with the pitch clock. So I don't think robot umps would be good for the game. Maybe I know they're implementing it in the minors and in this image, maybe they'll give the umpire an earpiece that just tells them ball or strike, which I honestly wouldn't mind. But I think if you take out the human umpires off the field, that's going to take away so much of like the element of the game.
I think part of the beauty is the human error in the game, or the human eye, those close pitches where it might be just a little bit outside, but they reward the pitcher, rightfully. But then there's that point, let's get the calls correct. If it hits the zone, it's a strike. If it doesn't, it's a ball. And I like that part of it too. I'm really 50-50 on this one. I've always have been. I know more people more so agree with you, the human part of it. But, I get really pissed off when there's like a controversial play and it's like, or even it's like a good couple inches outside and they call it a strike. And it's like, damn it, I'd rather, have the calls be right and sometimes screw my team over than it be wrong and my team gets screwed over. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's just as good a point as the one I made, you want the calls to be right. They're major league umpires. These calls should be right 95+% of the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, going to be a few, mistakes.
I wouldn't mind that earpiece though. Maybe that's the best thing.
Right. That's like, yeah, exactly. If you want to maybe implement it a little bit where you have just a robot system, kind of like how the pitchers have their pitch comm now in their hat, just have something in the umpire's ear that tells them ball or strike so that they don't have to worry about getting backlash if the call is wrong. Like they can just say, I was told by the, artificial
intelligence
or whatever, that was a strike. That was read as a strike. So that's what I'm told to do. Then that's okay.
I wouldn't mind that. That's very good. I was always been 50-50 on it. I know it's controversial. Oh gosh.
And this one is the reason I brought this one up is because I'm not sure if you saw, but just recently, the MLB actually implemented all of the Negro League stats into the MLB database, which I think is awesome. Those guys back then, they were literally not allowed to play in the league just because of what they looked like. So the fact that their stats are finally getting recognized as professional ball players, I think is really cool. But now that the MLB is going back and doing that, should they have the ability to go back and correct other things? Like this is probably one of the most infamous blown calls in MLB history, which was
for me
Galarraga's.
For me, this is a no, cannot happen. I mean, I think it partially takes away from like even the fun, because the fun of the no hitter is celebrating with your team right after and kind of just having a good time.
Right.
And now it's like, oh, I threw a no hitter 15 years ago. Nice. It got reversed. Either way, it's like,
right.
It's kind of like that thing, like we talked about the Jaylen Brown 3-pointer getting taken away. It's like, I mean, like we're arguing, should they take away a call 5 minutes ago, let alone years ago? It's an interesting point, because obviously, that was an infamous blown call, but I still don't think, you can say, I don't think you can go back and correct history like this.
Yeah, I agree with you. This was a take that because of, all the implementation of the new statistics from the Negro Leagues, I've seen like on social media just saying like, okay, now can you go back and fix blah, blah, blah. And so I thought it was a good topic to bring up, but I do agree. Like you can't just go back and say, oh, never mind, they won this game, they won that game. And like the huge thing about a perfect game or a no-hitter is it's an in-the-moment thing. Like, in the moment, you're joyous, but what is he going to do? What is Galarraga going to do now? If they say, oh, you have a perfect game, he's going to be like, oh, sweet. Like, I know. Like, I know you guys messed it up, but what are you going to do about it now? Like, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, it's baseball history. Every fan knows he threw a perfect game. It's just not in the record books because this play where he's clearly stepping on the bag with the baseball in his glove. This guy's not even close to touching first, and he was called.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is a shame, but yeah,
part of the game. it's baseball history that
This is your human error. Get robot umpires out there on the field. Yeah. Yeah, very interesting question, though. One I never thought about, but, it is interesting. And then next one. Should we just let players use what they want so we can see 70-plus home runs or 350 Ks a season, or does it take away from the integrity of the game?
This was a topic that I remember coming up in our classes about, like, oh, should we just let the players juice? And,
At this point,
just everybody.
I was very in favor of Barry Bonds and all them laying into the Hall of Fame. Now that it's banned, though, I think, it brings a different spark to the game because now it's just, like more impressive, like what we saw with Aaron Judge in 2022, like those 60-plus home runs, not on anything. At this point now, it's just like everyone, it's not a win-win because if they hit 70 home runs now, it's like, oh, that juice is kicking in. Like you won't ever, these players won't get the credit they get now. So I do think it actually does kind of take partially away from integrity of the game. And I would say, no, I don't want everyone on stuff now because that's just like, if you want to take the most and, get roided up and then like die by like 40, I mean, I think that we might see that a lot more.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like when it happened and everyone was doing it, it was awesome. But now that but the MLB has like really dropped the hammer on, if you do this, we're going to damn near exile you from the league. Like Tatis got suspended 80 games and like this, the first offense is 80 games. Then it's a full season. Then you're banned from the MLB. So they're really hammering home. They don't want anybody to do this. And I agree because like you just said, the players would never get the credit they deserve. It would all be on the steroids. So guys like Aaron Judge, who are just freaks of nature and can hit balls 500 feet, would never get the credit they really deserve for working all their life to be able to do that. And then all of a sudden all the credit would just go to, one pill that they do every other day.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think. And I know it's another topic where people are just like, oh, let them juice, let pitchers juice, stuff like that.
Just annoying. Yeah. Very interesting, though. That's a good point. And then, should umpires be fined for making the incorrect call / bad ejection?
This could be a sports-wide.
This has been a sports topic, like in the NBA, NFL. Like, should they be fined for like this bad of refereeing? For me, this is a whole. Not just MLB, but it's a good point to bring up. For me, oh gosh, like I'm 50-50 on this. Like if sometimes it just looks really bad, but like I said, this is the human part of error where you're like, this is the beauty of it. It's like so annoying. I don't know. Because then I feel like the umpires and referees will come together and like, make a union of some sort that like won't let this happen. It'd be very messy. So I would just say for now, no, but like there should be something like, like whether it not be money, but like, they get like they lose privileges of like, umpiring bigger games like playoff games and stuff like that.
Okay. That's a good point. I'm on the other side though. I do think that there should be some repercussions. There shouldn't be, loss of a job, obviously, because that's messing with somebody's livelihood. But I do think they should be fined because there at this point, we've seen it way too many times where afterwards there will be like the post-game umpire statement. They're like, oh, yeah, we got that call wrong. Sorry. And then just nothing happens. It's like, well, dude, you just messed with like in like a football game where every regular season game matters. Like that can mess with how a team's season ends up. Or, basketball, it's a little tougher because, 82 game season, if you make a bad call that loses a team a game, in the middle of the season, it might not have as big of implications, but it's still a win or a loss that maybe you messed up by making a bet.
Or this much fair. It's find the best way, maybe. Send a message, but I don't know. We'll see.
There needs to be some sort of accountability because right now, with players, there's accountability. Like if they're not playing good, they're not going to play, or they're going to get or fans are going to call for their head. Like they got to live with it. But the umpires, it almost seems like they just don't care if they make a bad call or a bad.
That is true. There's someone like Scott Foster, man. Something's got to change.
Right. Exactly. Like they're not going to change until you really lay the hammer down. If you start finding them, they'll start changing.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's a fine. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit too nice, but I respect it. And then
Should should the playoff bracket be reworked was another one that I thought of.
oh,
And just like I'm pretty sure we talked about it earlier. We've seen multiple
I
times.
also think this is like another question, like for something like the NFL. I think the only thing like the NBA doesn't reward, like divisions, because there is divisions, but it's all about the conference record. That's what matters first. For me, I wouldn't mind this. I'm really 50-50. Obviously, there are divisions for a reason right now. But if they were to do this, it should just be like the NBA, where it's like a 1 through 8. So there's no more divisions. Central, American League East, they're all playing each other the same amount. And if we were to do something like this, because there are divisions for a reason right now, and division record is so critical to the MLB, because Red Sox Yankees play a lot more than the Red Sox play the Twins. So it's going to be
Mhm.
it's very interesting. But for now, I kind of like it, especially that my Twins made the division last year, winning like 87 games.
No, I definitely get that. And I do think division winners should be rewarded. But at the same time, I hate to see, I always go back to 2018 because that's just, as a Red Sox fan, those were the good times. But when the Red Sox played the Yankees, which is like the most well-known rivalry in baseball, you'd think that'd be an ALCS matchup, but it was an ALDS matchup.
You know
And
what, though? You got to go through them eventually.
right, but it's also, a 5-game series, which I would have loved to see a 7-game series between the two teams. So maybe that gets reworked. I don't think it ever will. But
if I'm not mistaken, so the Red Sox were the 1 seed.
yeah,
But were the Yankees the second best record, or was
no,
it
they were a wild card. They had to go through the wild card because they didn't win the division.
Yeah.
They had to play.
But I think the Astros had the second best record, so the Astros deserved to be on the other side of the bracket. So it would have been Yankees. That sucks for Yankees fans, but if you're better, go beat them. You got it.
Yeah,
I know it sucks. A lot of teams have gone through that. I think the hockey is one of the more weird playoff brackets I don't really like. But that is what it is. Yeah.
I don't think baseball. I don't think it's ever going to get done.
And then, should there be a salary cap floor? So there's more competition. Great question, Nick, to end this controversial take segment up. I think yes, because I am sick of teams like the Dodgers and Yankees getting all the big time players, and teams like my Minnesota Twins, the Tampa Bay Rays, getting nothing. And I think it's honestly, I just like rooting for the small market teams, if the Twins are out of the playoffs, because it's more impressive to see a team that's doing that than the team just trying to buy themselves a trophy, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think there should be some implementation, not just of the cap, but also of the floor, because then it would save fan bases like the Oakland Athletics from seeing their team never spend money because they're just cheaping out every year, so that they can eventually sell the team for triple the profit they bought it for. But yeah, I think there should be a cap and a floor, because it's so frustrating to see the Dodgers spend over $1 billion on 2 players in an offseason.
Or a team like the A's that doesn't spend anything and they're forced to spend. I like that too. That's another part. I forget the A's.
It would create more overall competition, and it prevents tanking, because it's like we always talk about, players on the field are never going to try and lose, but the upper management is going to do the best they can to put them in a bad position. So
yeah,
I think that love would force management.
Great question. Yeah, should 100% be a salary cap floor and a ceiling, because I am so tired of the Yankees and Dodgers signed new star to $500 million contract. It's like, great. Don't care. I'll get my Red Sox get their like Steve Pearce signings. I like those better. But yeah, with that being said, a lot of great questions on this. We'll definitely do this probably maybe in a different league, or another MLB down the line of controversial takes. Let us know what you agree and disagree with in the comments. And we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.